Hey,
Hello,
What
let's do it.
up?
hello.
Welcome, welcome.
Oh my God. I feel like should go change my shirt.
Oh my gosh, it's really good to see you both. Wow,
Like
welcome,
what?
welcome. We probably start like maybe 30 seconds or so, give people the chance to log on. Welcome, everybody.
Absolutely. I mean, does that give me enough time? Should I change my shirt? I feel like I don't look as presentable as you guys.
No, it's fine. I mean, it's up to you. You're
Oh
good.
no, I'm not changing my shirt. Peace and blessings to all of you. It's not happening.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. We are doing episode 15 of the Black Boy Zone podcast, and this is actually demystifying yoga with Dev and Donovan, and we're just happy to have you all here. My name is Danny. I'll be your host this evening. We're just gonna have a discussion. Yeah, just really, really happy to be here.
All right. Before we begin, could we start with a little meditation at the center?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So, wherever you are, find your comfortable seat. And as you drop into your breath, breathing in deeply through the nose. And rather than dragging the breath in, allow and invite the breath in through the nose. Feel it filling up the lungs, the chest. And then feel for that slight pull at the top of the inhalation. And then hold. And then as you exhale, feel the shoulders, thighs, toes, back of the eyes. Just relax. You want to do that like for about 5 deep breaths, just sitting in silence, observing, and allowing the breath to move through the body. Now slowly dropping the chin down to chest, just acknowledging where we are or in the grooves. And when you're ready, pop the eyes open.
Thank you for that. It
Mm.
was really good. Yeah. I I'm particularly excited about our conversation with you two because combined you both have 40 years of yogic practice between you two, and I think that's that's unprecedented, and it's something to be said about you individually and the lives that you live and how dedicated you are to the yogic practice. So I just want to name that, 40 years of combined yoga experiences, and it's going to add some depth and substance to the conversation that we have tonight on gurus and what the sacred texts say about gurus and how we approach the idea and concept of a guru today. Um, so yeah, welcome everyone in the chat, and our conversation tonight on demystifying yoga is gurus. The age of the guru is dead, and questioning that and diving a little bit deeper into that.
Awesome sauce. Well, I, for one, am super excited to be here, Danny. Thank you, Donovan. Always, a pleasure. Looking forward to it. Uh, I wish we had put maybe a little bit of a trigger warning on some of this because I know for me this subject gets really deep, and I just want to let y'all know I'm gonna share my thoughts. I'm gonna be authentic, sincere, and I may even be a little controversial in some of what I say, but it is done with love and nothing but blessings. So, amen.
Definitely.
Um,
Yes, it's the same thing with me. We're really trying to keep it as bare-faced and open and respectful as possible.
Yeah.
Um, so we'll just jump in. The
Yeah.
age of the guru is dead. Who killed him? First, I want to know who is a guru and
Mm.
what does it entails being a guru? Um,
Um, no, go on. I mean, so,
well,
well, here's the thing. When we initially were talking about this a little bit, I was always sort of under the impression that, okay, guru meant teacher, right? And no, exactly. And then you dropped this, and you gave me this other definition or understanding of it, which then I also really appreciated. So I think, I would want you to share that. But then also as a secondary or just another part to that is I think with the term guru, how maybe we use it here in the East maybe even be a little bit different than how it is used, or how we use it in the West is a little bit different than how it's used in the East. And so I wanted to also broach that and talk about that a little bit before we dive into some of the meatier parts of it. But can you at least share, because I don't want to butcher it, what you said guru actually means?
all right. So we guru, when you read the text, and it was Swami. His name has Ananda at the end. I can't remember the
Okay.
first part of it, but it had Ananda at the end. All right. And what he said that when he got his transmission, the definition of guru is the one who brings you to the light. Okay? So that's the definition of guru, one who brings you to the light. For me, when I hear that, it brings me into the whole phrase, you can bring the donkey to the well, but you can't force him to drink the water. All right? So it gives me the idea of this is the person who is like a path. He's going to show you the path, but it's for you to decide if you're going to go onto that path. So that's what I get from that, and what the definition of guru in the West is. In the East, we tend to think of the guru as being a teacher to the point where, for me, it feels a little bit, it feels a little cultish, where it gets to the point where if this person tells you to jump and jump off a cliff, you do it. We see it happening often. We see it happen lately in Jamaica here. Won't call any name, where it got big and blown up in the whole cult thing. And I'm wondering, is the age of the guru really gone? Or is it that these gurus are bringing people to a wrong light?
Oh, so go on, Danny.
No,
Mm-hmm.
just I was kind of like affirming, like, wow, like that's deep.
I mean, it is. And I think of a couple of things. One, you said that the guru is someone who brings you to the light, right? You know what I mean? They take you through the path. But I also think there are many different paths. And I think that,
Mm-hmm.
we all have our own life experiences and our own circumstances. And that means your path is just going to be a little bit different than mine. And I don't know who I would trust more so than myself. And quite frankly, the Buddha says it, or the words attributed to the Buddha that, no one saves us but ourselves. No one can and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path, right? I don't know who else knows the path that I'm supposed to be on and why I would entrust that to, someone else. Whether or not you're leading me to the light, bringing me through the light, like Carol Ann, or whatever the case is kind of like, no, but seriously, it's like, what did you do that is so deserving of this elevated status that we heap onto these gurus here in the West? I mean, I can automatically, you brought up cultish. I can obviously think of a few people. I can think of Bikram. I can think of Patani
Mm,
Choice. I can think of Tom Friend, right? Or Find, however you say his last name.
Right
There are
there.
quite a few people there with different scandals in their own right. And quite frankly, not to divorce it and say, hey, they didn't do something absolutely amazing in terms of sharing these different parts of the practice, but they're still human. And again, they are still fallible. They can make mistakes, and they certainly have. And so, it's a big thing to me. I'm like, wait, 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 wait. Why am I about to entrust you with all of me, the
mm,
fullness of me, that it really takes to, I think, submit and to walk on this path? You see what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. But yeah, um, no. The answer is no. The guru for me is dead, and they kill themselves with their scandals and their stuff. That's
I
just how I
hear.
feel about it.
It's it's an interesting topic for me. Up to today, I had the topic that someone approached me, why am I not certified? Why don't I have a piece of paper to show that I am a yogi? And I looked at her and I went, you need a piece of paper to show say you're a Christian? And she
mm,
yeah, this woman could be my grandmother, and I'm taking her on. And just to show that I will never, I believe even from an early age when I started my journey a couple of years ago, one of the things that stood out for me was how my teachers were in their egos. I
mm,
love them to death. I love them to death. I go and I literally kiss the hem of their garment, but my teachers are in their egos. And
mm,
that's one of the main reasons. It is not that I don't want to be associated with that school or anything, but that's just, yeah, I love the teachings, but I would never say that Donovan is a Iyengar teacher.
mm.
So that's one of the reasons why, because of how these teachers, gurus behave, I would never ever claim that.
I guess the thing for me there in trying to receive and process everything that you just said, but more so the part about egos, we're human beings. You know what I mean? I think that kind of
Hmm.
comes with the territory. And as students, we also have an important job as well, which is to, take what serves us and leave the rest on the
Leave the
table.
rest. Right.
We can't become lemmings and go, oh, this person's a guru. I have to do everything that they said. Like, no, it's not happening here. The part about like kissing,
Because
whatever the case is, I'm looking at you like, wait, huh? You know, because honestly, it's just not something that I personally would do. And I don't, and to forfeit all of my senses, in that way, that I would subjugate myself, that I would kowtow to a person who is flesh and blood just like me, is not going to happen, because it means you're just as capable, like I am, of making mistakes,
Hmm.
of interpreting things wrongly, poorly, of quite frankly being, um, like going the way of your ego. I think that's human, and so sometimes I really do. I think we look at gurus, whether we are using it as a teacher or as an enlightened one or whatever the case is, we somehow stop realizing that they're human. And I
Yes.
don't know that any part of our common sense should really allow us to do that, you know? Um, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think everyone's probably kind of seen that Bikram documentary, right, by now.
Hmm.
mhm,
Yes.
Hmm.
Like,
yeah,
if you're doing certain things and Bikram is telling you, like, hey, come give me a massage, and you're like, oh, yes, my
At
guru said,
at
give me a
2
massage.
a.m. in the morning. At 2 a.m. in the morning. Come on. I
It's just to be
texted
here.
anybody at 2 a.m. in
Just
the
to be here.
morning. Hello? Anyone I text at 2 a.m. in the morning. Come on, guys. Keep it real. Keep it
It's crazy.
real.
Donovan, I've reached out to you at 2 a.m. in the morning. Um,
I have a question for you guys.
okay.
So when we look at the text and see the idea behind guru, like where did that idea come from, and how did that kind of be introduced into the world of the practices that we've come to love? You know, like where does that the idea of guru come from? We kind of went over how define it as one who brings us to the light, but where did that actually come from in the text and in the tradition, the culture?
All right. You want to go ahead, Jeff?
No, go on.
Autobiography of a Yogi. Anyone read that text? All right. Recently delved back into that text. Everybody's starting out their head already. You get the confirmation. The idea of guru. When it started, he spoke about, there we go. It's almost on the shelf. When it started, I don't quite remember the names. He says he honor his guru, right? When you read it back and what the whole text is autobiography of a yogi, what I love and appreciate about it, it's a yogi telling the story through a yogi's eye. So he goes into the other languaging, living past lifetime, and going back into these different things, and then can connect them. What I found out, or what occurred to me, is his guru was a man, and this man had the ability to appear. That was his guru, right? That was the guy.
Hearing Messiah.
Right. That guy had the ability to physically appear in front of him. But what was interesting, he could only see his guru when he went inside.
When he had some deep
meditate. Yes, that was interesting. So where the concept of a guru comes in, it's from where the knowledge was passed down, not necessarily through divine intervention, but through word of mouth. And it had to have some level of authenticity to it. So these people would be trusted with the level of authenticity. A guru, usually in the first part of in India, they were usually priests. All right. And then afterwards, they then branched off into these holy men afterwards. All right. So, but they preserve and held the knowledge. So that's where, and they would pass it on to others. So that's where the guru would come from, the bringer or the shower of light. All right. So it's such a traditional thing they try to keep in. Even in the sutras, it goes on to say, even the student says, it doesn't really say guru, but the student should go and do some homage to the studio or to something like that. Remember that part in the sutras? The sutras also said that. So it doesn't say it's a thing. It's a more of a. It is inferred. You get what I'm saying? Yes, it is inferred that there is a guru. All right. So there's no real thing to say you must have principal, vice principal, blah blah blah. No, it's inferred that you have a guru, and it's just been through the knowledge, through the culture, been brought down. Right. Drawing on why I brought up that text is because, in as much as it talks about a physical apparition or whatever you want to call it as a guru, the point that struck out the most, he had to know me. He had to really go inwards before he could talk to his guru. So, Om Namo Guru Dev Namo, I honor the divine consciousness within. So all of that, yes.
I was sorry. It's so, Danny, your question was, where did this idea of the guru and so on come from, right? I think, I think of the Gita when Arjuna is talking to Krishna, who's his charioteer, and, he has to formally ask him for some sort of induction into this practice, right? I think of the sutras, and I think of, not necessarily, again, it's not stated in there directly, but I think of just the time of when it was written, and we don't know if Patanjali was a person or if he was, a group of people, if they were the Chelas and the individuals who, but I think there's some direct way that knowledge is passed down, right? Or received, so to speak. And it does not have to be, and just like you were saying, Donovan, that, in Autobiography of a Yogi, Yogananda had to go within in order to connect with his guru. And so, and just like, again, in the Gita, Krishna, the charioteer, Arjuna's guru, so to speak, is his inner guide. That's how it always is. And so again, when we externalize this idea of guru, I think that's a very modern thing that we're actually doing, where we're again entrusting this blood and flesh being with, hey, lead me into the light. Well, if the light is within, then you're not about to jump into my body. You're not a poltergeist. You see what I'm saying? So it's just not. It's just not. And so I think that's really important to note, right? And so I think somewhere in there, which is why I'm very much in favor of using English versus Sanskrit at times, because I feel very comfortable saying, hey, yeah, this is my teacher. They're helping me to understand and expand my knowledge and whatever it is. But then to give you this title that can sometimes feel very inflated and say, oh, you're my guru, is something I'm just not really willing to do. Furthermore, to the point that, we go within is Sutra 1.7, right? Where Patanjali talks about, and the sutras, if anyone's not familiar, it's sort of the first time that the way to practice yoga is actually written down, right? The first formal text. And so we all sort of use it no matter what discipline of yoga you're practicing, it's there. And so in Sutra 1.7, I think Patanjali says, hey, there is right knowledge, right? So when we're looking for a guru to pass along this right knowledge to us, Patanjali says, hey, there are 3 ways that you can actually acquire right knowledge. It is scriptural testimony, direct experience, and to infer, or being inferent. Right. So those are the 3 ways that you can actually acquire this, enlightened knowledge. And again, we can't say that, again, he literally tells you can have direct experience, which is literally what Yogananda's story, the Autobiography of a Yogi, it's all about his direct experience. You see what I'm saying? He didn't tell you, oh, sit here and do this and do that. He's literally sharing his experience. It's his autobiography. And then in the Gita, we're left to, quite frankly, infer a whole heck of a lot from Arjuna's story. And, he is living this, he has these great decisions to make. In this battle, he has this spiritual conquest, if you will, and we have to again infer, like, hey, what's the right thing to do? How would I handle it? Because he's living a life just like you. You know what I mean? He's not. He has real stuff going on. He has family issues going on. He has he's not a man on a mountaintop, essentially. And then the scriptural testimony to me is most like the sutras, because again, it is it's full of theory and, you know, philosophy and things that you can say like, oh, this is exactly, it's filled with the essence of what yoga is and what the practice actually is.
Mm.
And so in any of those three ways, you can find the way to, again, go within and acquire the knowledge that will then allow you to be your own guru. That's how I see it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents or 3 cents. Cheers.
um, hmm, devil's advocate here. So, are you saying that I should just jump up on YouTube and watch a couple things and do some yoga and I'm now a yogi?
Yeah,
Is
in some sense. Yeah, I am. Listen, listen, this is important, I think, because by default, you are an expert in your life, in your body. It's not to say that you know everything, but he who feels it knows. No one else has ever lived and ever will be in your body. No one else has ever at any point will have and live the experiences that you have. You are an expert. Don't put that, don't make yourself secondary, you know, to someone else's whatever it is that they're bringing to the table. Take what works for you. All right. We're not in the age of Patanjali. We're not in the age of Arjuna. We're not in the age of Yogananda. You literally have computers in your pockets. If you're listening to this, you are joining from some powerful device that allows you to acquire knowledge. So then use that and then find what you need to find and then interpret it. You know, try and tie it back to the scriptural sources. I think, again, in Patanjali talks about it in the sutras where, you know, it's said that if you are, you know, the way that you can tell whether something is legit or not is, hey, is that essence there? In this, as it is in the scriptural testimony, as it is in the ancient text, is the essence, that cord of truth, is that the same, right? So is that sutra there, that note there through every single thing? So if you're looking at it on Google, it should be the same as what you read in any of these texts, if that's the way it comes to you. But again, even in these different books and all of this stuff, please don't forget that you're reading a version, a translation.
of
You know,
of
it's
someone
something that
else.
has been
Yes.
filtered through the lens of another person. And so you then have to now translate it in a way that is digestible and agreeable to you. And I feel like we should all take we should all feel very free and comfortable in doing that. You know, there's no reason why we shouldn't. So yeah, you're a yogi when you decide to get up and be on this path, not when you pay $5,000, $10,000 and go to some course or do something like that. It just doesn't work that way. You know, money doesn't make you sincere in this practice, or being able to afford a thing does not, you know, preclude you to being on this path. It just does not. It does not. So, amen.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, brothers. I would like to follow that up with the question. It seems like we're going in the direction of going within, right? And so for someone who is on this path, what are practices and how are those practices that allow one to go within? What does it mean to go within and to find that light from within themselves? How is that done?
No, Donovan, you there?
You want me? All right, cool. You want me to take this
No,
one?
sure.
All
We'll
right.
both jump in.
So for me, how do I connect and what is this light that's within?
Mm,
It's that silence. It's this peace and this quiet. That's when I stop and drop into my breath. It's there. It's no blinding light. It's no nothing. It's just and nice, comfortable, and no, I'm not high. It's a very connecting, peaceful, reverent feeling that it just feels good inside of me. And I have lived, so I know what feels not right and what's unsettled and what's settled. So that's a very settling sensation for me. How do I go in? Tap into my breath. And that's how I usually drop it.
I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't necessarily say a whole heck of a lot different. I think over the years, it's just become very natural for me to experience that stillness and silence. I consider silence to be one of the most beautiful sounds. It's the same for all of us. We hear it and receive it, if you will, the same way. Um, and so to give myself an opportunity to actively engage with those two things, stillness and silence, I think is a way that I don't even necessarily go within. So even that's a little peculiar to me when I think about it. When you say like go within, it almost feels like I have to
Mm-hmm.
travel somewhere or do
Travel
something special
somewhere.
to get there, right? But the truth is, I never without, right? So we're always in. It's because of all of the different, we're almost overly stimulated, and there are all these different things that we busy ourselves with, like, oh, what's for dinner? And oh, what do I have to do tomorrow? And oh, I have this to go. Those are all the things that distract us from, if you will, the present moment and distract us from being able to acknowledge that we are where we're supposed to be. You already are in, you know what I mean? And you are also out. You're like we're all of it, all at the same time. And I think it's giving yourself an opportunity. For me, it's been realizing that, take the opportunity to acknowledge that I am where I'm supposed to be. Um, I think that in terms of maybe what your original question is asking, like what are some steps that we can actually
Steps
take to
to.
go within? I think again, just the 8 limbs, the whole practice of yoga is designed to help us do exactly that, right? So, yeah, the asanas, the breathing pranayama, you know, sitting and learning to focus, right? Because focus comes before meditation. And I hope maybe we can do that for our next talk, is to actually talk about meditation, because it's something I was really thinking about and something that I
Dhyana and
quibble.
Dhyana and Dana.
That's a whole nother thing. But it's that, so these steps are already there, and they're very much formulaic, and they have been, like I said, handed down from years and years and
Years.
years. And so the essence of it is there. But if I said to you, hey, this is how I do it, that may not work for you. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that it's the only way to do it. You know what stillness, you know what silence, you know what peace feels like and how it resonates within your own self. And, like, I can't necessarily, again, I'm not in your shoes. I'm not in your body. What I can do as a teacher, maybe as maybe someone who is on the path, I might be able to safeguard that space for you
Mm-hmm.
while you discover it and find it on your own. But the truth is, you're going to have to do it yourself. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can consult, but I can't do it for you. And that's just the reality of it. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
All right. Danny, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay. Cool.
All right. So, um, explain. I'm trying to find out your journey, your process of going within. I don't know if you guys been following Danny, but I follow him like a hawk. His process, he goes and he tells you about all of these different rites and stuff that he does. And what is interesting, it's not that he has a yogi telling him to do this, do that, blah, 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 blah. He's been taking a plant based guru. So, talk to me about that.
Yeah, it's been a journey for sure. I remember even starting meditation and yoga just to mitigate feelings of deep anxiety that I was having several years ago. And my practice over the years has brought me reprieve. You know, I've been able to have spurts of reprieve from anxiety and depression. Um, Within the past year, you know, I discovered my ancestry. I discovered that I was descended paternally from the Tike, Misoko, Kota, and Fang people of Gabon in West Africa. And they have a spiritual practice called Bwiti. And part of Bwiti is ingesting this special earth medicine, this plant medicine called Iboga. And Iboga allows one, in through ceremony, to connect to their ancestors. It allows one to connect to the tradition, and also gives a spiritual awakening. And when I found out about this plant medicine, I was like, where do I sign up? How do I begin? And I remember being very fortunate to find an organization that is led by a 10th generation British shaman named Muganda in the village of Gabon. And he has these centers around the world that allows people to come in and go through these ceremonies. And so I ended up going there and taking this plant medicine. And what's unique about Iboga is that you don't just ingest it and it's like over, like it doesn't like leave your body like within 24 hours or 48 hours. It's going to be in my body for the next 7 months. So I took it December 12th. And so it's going to be in my body to the summer. And what it does is it speaks to me like it's a literal spirit that's in my body that and not only is like, you know, I was able to journey, I was able to go into the spirit world and see my ancestors and commune with them. But in this world, in this physical world, it allows me to clear my mind and align with my soul. And so those two things, it does very gently, and it speaks to me. It shows me my mental patterns and my behaviors, and it teaches me in a subtle, quiet voice. And so, like you said, Donovan, in a way that is my guru. Iboga is my guru, and it'll be that until for the next 7 months or until I take it again. I'm very grateful for it because it brings me into the light, right? Like it clears the mind and aligns you with the soul. In a British tradition, your soul is your light, you know, that inner knowing.
Mm-hmm.
And I tap into that.
I love it. And it's within.
And it's within it.
Literally.
It makes one think about. It gives me the different scopes to which a guru is now. So one can say that a guru could be a piece of leaf. One could say a guru could be a bell. Yeah. Or one could say your guru could even be a sound.
Is that far off though?
I'm just saying, I'm just throwing this out there. I'm just being a
Well, we have Om, right?
we have Om, Ishvar.
Om. It's a sound. It is, I think, all, you know, it's the sound that encompasses, or all sounds are made up of the sound Om, right? So in that sense, to hear the voice of the guru is to hear Om, I guess, in some way. When we think about, you mentioned it could be a leaf or, you know, nature, imbibing, taking something into yourself.
Right.
That's not necessarily too different from the asanas in terms of how they're named. They're named, you know, you have tree pose, vrikshasana. You have, you know, we have all these other poses where you look at nature, if you will, for inspiration. Buddha sat under a bodhisattva tree, you know, or a Bodhi tree. So, you know, again, I think that's actually a really, really cool point to make and a really amazing thing to know, like the ceremony you went through, Danny, and what Donovan said. I don't know that our gurus have to be of flesh and blood. I don't know that they have to be people, but things that again connect us to our lineage, to our ancestry. You first started talking about Yogananda and Lahiri Messiah, and how you know the guru would appear. Not that the guru would, not that he would go to the guru or the guru wouldn't necessarily walk up to him, but and I'm sure, Danny, you said you communed, you went to the spirit world. Like it was
Spirit world.
probably it sounds very similar to that in that way, to me at least. Like your guru gets to appear before you. I think that's really awesome.
Yes. And no, it's not
So
only that, he has his guru literally on call for the next 7 freaking months. Not say we don't, but you get what I mean.
Yes.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've imbibed
Super, super
this
awesome.
thing. It's not like us, we don't have to sit, not necessarily that we sit down and tap into it, but you get the whole process. You're going to like, bam, right? So that's
Yeah.
really, really like amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet.
So
Yeah. So the discussions, the guys who are in, do you have any questions that who are joining in? Thank you guys for saying that the discussions are wonderful. Thank you. We try our best. I connect to crystals. There we go. Crystals. Another way in which they can talk to you. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
some of my crystals, so
So,
special.
any
Um,
questions? Anything else?
uh,
I think we did
Yes, oh
everything.
my gosh, Rachel, how could I forget? So a lot of the, like Rachel introduced me to all these crystals and a lot of these things. So awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, that part. That's it. Mm,
So to say that the age of the guru is dead, it is which guru did we kill? Did we kill the physical person or did we manifest it in something else?
um, I think it's really important to say that I started off by saying I didn't kill anyone, especially in the state of the world now. I just didn't. Um, but yeah, I firmly believe, I had written this thing a while back, a really long time ago. And it was, I think I told you about it, Donovan. It was my guru is younger than me. I,
Yes, yes, yes.
I had the opportunity to interact with a really young yogi. I think at the time he was somewhere maybe like 6 or 7. And what made him so unique is that he was born without eyes, right? And I remember I was sort of babysitting him, and we were in New York City. And, it's loud, it's noisy, all that stuff. His parents were actually going to a concert. And so they asked if I wouldn't mind, hanging out with him for a little bit. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And so we get up and he wanted to go get like cookies, chocolate chip cookies or something like that. So we go outside and I'm thinking he's going to be overwhelmed by the noise and all of this stuff. No fear, he had like,
Wow.
but we start walking across the street. We go across the street. He's like, come on, Deverell, let's go. And we get inside this store and I'm like, okay, we have to go upstairs. So me, of course, I'm like, oh, well, I want to be really mindful and make sure I'm supporting him. And, maybe I need to lift you up. And he literally, just starts running up the steps like, doom, 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 doom. And
With
I'm
no
sitting there,
eyes.
like, is he tricking me? Yeah, no eyes, like literally no globes, no warp. He's not, so it's not like he has partial sense of sight, not in the way that we understand it, but he just started running and bounding up the steps. And then it made me think after that experience with him, it literally changed the crap out of my practice because I couldn't have fear and doubt in the same way, right? Having had someone evidence this fearlessness this courage even to move forward into the unknown or to what he couldn't see. And to do it with such joy at that, with such like, just, he was just joyous.
Mm.
It made me, it literally, it changed how I did my back bends. You know what I mean? It changed how I sat in stillness and in silence. Um, I remember at times after that really just trying to walk and, close my eyes and have like a little bit of a walking meditation in different gardens and things like that. But literally it was, I think, he's the only person to this day, I think, that I have ever acknowledged in this guru fashion. Um, and it's not, again, he was like 7 years old or something like that. It's not because he said, oh,
Mm.
let me be your guru. And he did actually lead me. Like when I say he was pulling my hand and dragging me across the street. So in some sense, yeah, but it was literally because of how he lived. He was living his life, right? It was because of how he was engaging the world. And so it was, I think, he was leading by example in that way. He was teaching me by example. And I think that's what made him so amazing and made the experience, that little bit of time I got to spend with him, so impactful, right? Because again, it really, really, like when you do a back bend and you think, oh my gosh, my whole world is turning upside down, depending on the back bend you're doing, but the whole world is going upside down, my head, my eyes, everything is looking in some other direction.
Mm.
It's like, how could I not then start to do that differently?
Mm-hmm.
So, I thought that was pretty interesting. So our gurus, I think, can be when the student is ready, the teacher appears type of a
Teacher
deal.
will appears. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
So
Yeah.
whether
That's true.
it's a plant, an animal, a cloud, or anything like that, then, that's just what it
Mm-hmm.
becomes at that time. When we're ready, it appears.
We-
Yeah, man.
No, miss, we did good teachers already, so
What you say?
what makes a teacher a good teacher? There is no greater blessing than a good teacher. Most of mine have been far younger than me. All
Mm.
right. Before that, she had typed a whole thing saying that it is good to have mentors as like gurus as your mentor.
Hmm.
And then what is more exciting than having someone to not necessarily tell you what to do, but to guide you along the way, which you are also reiterating.
Yes.
Um, and then
Yeah, I
she's
think
asking also
Sean
to,
said that too.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
to opportunity to find teachers.
Hmm.
What are the opportunities? How does one go about finding a good teacher? We discussed good teachers already, guys. Really? But anyways, but anyways,
So
go
we
back
have
and check it out.
about just under 8 minutes left, and
Eight
I'm
minutes
curious about
plus.
final thoughts as regards to everything that we've talked about, or if you want to go over any questions that may have passed, but just kind of um, settling it in, and maybe even ending with a practice of stillness and breath as well.
Um,
All
no,
right.
I thought he was talking to like everyone, who is tuned in and joined in. Um, it's actually super hard for me. I want to try and look at some of these comments, and I end up doing it after
Yeah,
because I get
same.
lost a little bit. But next time, I think I'll try and hook it up to my computer so that I could see the comments as they're, scrolling up and be able to read them, pay attention a little bit more. Um, I think in closing, I really want, for me, it's important, I think, for everyone to know that um, you were born, yeah, with this amazing knowledge and this amazing ability to love and to be your own guide, quite frankly. You feel it, if we could turn off the mind, your body knows right and wrong, and it can answer all the questions that you have. I think by design. And yoga, absolutely, as a practice, I think will help you do that. The three books that we mentioned, whether it's the Sutras of Patanjali, which, might be a little bit more philosophy and theory,
Philosophy, the
it's
hardest one to
really
read.
helpful. Say again.
The hardest one to read.
It depends on your temperament, right? So the sutras is one. Autobiography of a yogi. It's much more story format and
Mm-hmm.
closer to modern times. He gets on the train in that one. So that could be also really cool, or the Bhagavad Gita,
Bhagavad
um,
Gita.
which is again, all three of these have the same thread or essence of truth. They all give you the same opportunity to experience yoga in a way that works for you. And you get to see how these three different people or groups of people even did it. And I think so that's really awesome. So no matter where you are on this practice, if you're just starting, in the middle of it, or you think you're at the end of it, all well and good, all gravy, any of these books I think will help to support you on your path, on your journey, and it'll even probably help you find that great teacher that you're looking for. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. I probably took up 4 minutes. Peace and blessings. Yeah.
All what Dev said.
Yes.
uh, but yeah, that's all what you say, guys. It's not that you are born with common sense, but if something doesn't feel right, and you know when it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't resonate with you, you will know. You will know. That's all I can say. I can't say there's a right way and there's a wrong way because it's what you are experiencing. You will know. That's all.
So
Yeah.
So if somebody says they're a guru and they start to say, "Oh, give me where's the deed to your house?
Yes.
Like, show me, what's how much is in your bank account? Any of those things. Look at those as red flags. Okay, you don't need like some expert to tell you that, hey, there's something a little off about it here. If they're inviting you to their hotel room at 2 in the morning for special lessons, a little
That's a little
sketch.
tricky. A
A
little sketchy.
little sketch. Just saying. So trust yourself.
Deverell
Mm.
and Donovan, thank you both so much. And in these last few moments before we do our closing practice, how can our listeners, either on this live or in the podcast, get in contact or get connected with you both?
Well, they can reach out to me online on my IG handle at _yogi. And I'm going to brag and boast here. And also Studio Sol at Studio Up Light. So you can reach out there. By the two places and reach me.
Hey,
You can get in contact with me at Yogi Posture. It's my Instagram, or you know what? Like, reach out through Black Boys Home. Um,
Mm,
love them. Will always love them. And so yeah, reach out through Black Boys Home, and I'll get the message there as well.
yeah.
That's it for me.
perfect. Thank you, brothers, so much for your time and energy. And it's just so much gratitude to you both. Um, Trying to think of a good closing practice. Probably just the way that we started, maybe. What do you all think? Yeah. All right. Wherever you are, I invite you to, if it's comfortable, close your eyes or have a softly focused gaze and allow your body to soften and begin to notice your breath. You don't have to breathe a certain way. You just breathe. And as you breathe, allow yourself to explore what it is to have even breaths, even inhales, and even exhales. And in this space of your breath and observing your breath, I encourage you to know that all that you need is within you. Every answer and all the light is always within. And let your breath bring you home to yourself over and over again. I invite you to gently bring awareness to your surroundings by fluttering your eyes open. Maybe tap your thumb across each finger. And so much gratitude for taking the time to spend with us tonight. This live will be saved and you can catch the podcast episode in February 1st. And peace to all. Thank you, Donovan. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yes.
Bye,
Remember the
everyone.
first. Bye.